Welcome to Math TV with Professor V. This is Calculus 1 video lecture number 1. Yay! So in this video, we're going to focus on the tangent and velocity problems. Now, calculus was developed in response to problems and questions, and among these were the tangent and velocity problems. So let's start with the tangent line. Here's the question that we have at hand. Can we find an equation of the tangent line to y equals x squared at the point 1, 1. So here's my point P, 1, 1, on the graph of y equals x squared, and I want the equation of the tangent line to that curve. Now let's think about what we need when we write an equation of a line. So to write an equation of a line, we need two things. We need a point and we need a slope. Now the point I have, 1, 1, but the slope, do I have the slope of that tangent line? Well, no, not at the moment, because in order to find the slope of a line, what we've learned before is that you need 2 points in order to calculate it. So since I don't have another point to work with at the moment, what we're gonna do is use another point as an approximation, okay, and create a secant line instead. So what we're going to do is use the point Q, and Q has coordinates 0, 0. I'm going to use that point as our second point. Now, can you find the equation or the slope of the line that goes through PQ? Now, I know this line isn't tangent to the curve, okay? I know, but just bear with me, we'll get there. So here's the line going through points P and Q. Obviously, its slope is not the same as the slope of the tangent line, but we're going to use it as a starting off point. Could we figure out the slope of that line? Sure. So we have 2 points. I'm going to look at change in the y coordinates over change in the x coordinates. So the slope of the line through PQ is going to be 1 minus 0 divided by 1 minus 0, which is 1. All right, now how could I make it so that the slope of this purple secant line is closer to the slope of the tangent line, that blue line that I want? What if I just move my point Q over a wee bit, right? What if I move my point Q over so that it gets closer to point P? What if it was here? Then wouldn't you agree that the line through PQ, if I made this Q now over here, wouldn't you agree that the slope through that line is closer to the slope of the tangent line that we're trying to figure out? Okay, so let's move Q this time to 0.9, 0.81. Remember, it has to be on the parabola. So the other point P that we're using has coordinates 1, 1. Let's figure out the slope through PQ. So I'm going to have 1 minus 0.81 over 1 minus 0.9, and this gives us 1.9. Okay, good. Let's get even closer, right? Why not? So now I'm going to move Q. Remember, point P is at 1, 1, so get super duper close. Q is going to be 0.99, and then remember, it's on the parabola y equals x squared, so 0.99 squared is 0.9801. So the slope of PQ now is 1 minus 0.9801 divided by 1 minus 0.99, and that gives us 1.99. Ooh, it looks like things are going somewhere, right? So notice as we move that point Q closer and closer to the point P, the slope of the line that goes through PQ, that secant line, is getting closer to the number 2. And so we write that the limit as Q approaches P, when you read this out loud, you say Q approaches P, of the slope of PQ, the slope of the line that goes through P and Q, is equal to M. Now this M over here, this is the slope of the tangent line. So this is the slope of the secant line through PQ, and then M is the slope of the tangent line at point P. Okay, so the main difference is when you draw a secant line through a curve, you need 2 points, but when you write a tangent line or equation of a tangent line, you just have that one point, the point of tangency. Okay, so remember we mentioned earlier you need two things to write the equation of a line. You need a slope and a point, and we can put them all together in point-slope form. So we can use our approximation that the slope of the tangent line is 2, or approximately 2, to write the equation of that tangent line using the original point P, which was at 1, 1. So we can write y minus 1 equals 2 times x minus 1, and then distributing, I'll have y minus 1 equals 2x minus 2, so y equals 2x minus 1. All right, good. Now, the other problem that we mentioned was the velocity problem. So there's two kinds of velocity that we're going to study on at this moment. There's average velocity, okay, and that you could compute by finding the distance traveled divided by the time elapsed. Change in position divided by change in time. And this is represented by the slope of the secant line. The instantaneous velocity is the velocity at a given instant in time, which is represented by the slope of the tangent line. So here's the main thing to keep in mind. Average velocity is related to the slope of the secant line because it involves time elapsed over an interval. Instantaneous velocity is represented by the slope of the tangent line because it's just at a single instant in time, okay? So it's only at one particular value of t, not over an interval of time, okay? So we're gonna look at an example so we can make sure we understand the difference. So here we go. If a rock is thrown upward on the planet Mars with a velocity of 10 meters per second, its height in meters t seconds later is given by y equals 10t minus 1.86 t squared. So find the average velocity over the given time intervals. So we have multiple time intervals that we're going to have to compute the average velocity for. So remember, average velocity from above is distance traveled over time elapsed. You could think of that also as change in position. In this case, I'll say change in height divided by change in time, which is represented by the slope of the secant line, okay? So here, 1 and 2, these represent values of t. These are values of t, and I want to know what is the height at each of those values of t. So let's figure it out off to the side here. So y of 1, I'm going to substitute 1 in for t into the equation here. So I have 10 times 1 minus 1.86 times 1 squared. That gives me 8.14. And then y of 2 is going to be 10 times 2 minus 1.86 times 2 squared, so that's 12.56. So you could think of it like these are ordered pairs, right? For the function 1, 8.14, and 2, 12.56. So to compute the average velocity, just think you're finding the slope of the secant line that goes through these 2 points. So change in height, that's going to be 12.56 minus 8.14 divided by change in time, 2 minus 1. And then this gives us 4.42. Now we need units because it was given here, it was specified. So notice we have change in height, and height is being measured in meters, and then time is being measured in seconds. So the units here are meters per second. So you have to include the units for your answer to be correct if they were given to you in the problem. Okay, good. Now notice we change up the interval. So instead of looking at the interval from 1 to 2, now the interval goes from 1 to 1.5. So all that's going to change are the values here. right? So basically to get this average velocity, you would have y of 1.5 minus y of 1, which we know is 8.14, divided by 1.5 minus 1. And then don't worry, I already did this ahead of time, and you get 5.35 meters per second. Okay, look at part 3. Now we're making the interval even smaller. Look at the first one went from 1 to 2, then 1 to 1.5. Now we're only going to go from 1 to 1.1. Very short little interval, very small change in time. So to get the average velocity on this interval, we would take y of 1.1, the height at 1.1 seconds, minus y of 1 divided by 1.1 minus 1. And this comes out to 6.094 meters per second. Good. All right, let's keep going. Let's make that interval super tiny. Part 4. We'll look at the interval from t equals 1 to t equals 1.01. My goodness, you could barely blink in that time. So that's y of 1.01 minus y of 1 divided by 1.01 minus 1. So this is 6.2614, again, meters per second. And then lastly, smallest interval we're going to compute is from 1 to 1.001. So y of 1.001 minus y of 1 divided by 1.001 minus 1, and this comes out to 6.27814 meters per second. Okay, and we can keep going and going if we wanted, but at this point, we're going to say enough. Let's estimate what that instantaneous velocity is when t is equal to 1. So notice the values, as we were making the intervals smaller and smaller, right? Then the average velocity was approaching the value of the instantaneous velocity at t equals 1. And if you were to have to make an educated guess or estimate, it looks like that instantaneous velocity is about 6.28 meters per second. They weren't specific in the directions how much we needed to round to for this problem, so you can just do whatever you like, but make sure you follow the directions that your instructor gives you regarding rounding. Okay, so that concludes the lesson on the tangent and velocity problems. These are just to get your mind going. That way you can understand where we come up with the resolution to these problems using calculus. So stay tuned. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, give this video a like, and subscribe. That way you don't miss out on any uploads.